Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about how to divide decimals. So example 1, the bill at a restaurant is $809.40. It is being evenly split between 12 people. How much money does each person owe? Okay, so we have $809.40 and it's being divided by, or split between, divided by 12 people. So this 12 over here, this is our divisor. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw our little division house. We put our divisor on the outside. This is what we're dividing by. And then on the inside, we're putting $809.40. Now, when you divide with a decimal, the very first thing I want you all to do is to bring this decimal up so that we don't lose where our decimal place is supposed to be. So now we can just start dividing like normal. So let's first think about how many times can 12 go into 80. So 12 can go into 80 6 times. So I'm going to put, remember you always put the number over what you are dividing by, right? So I'm going to put the 6 over the 80 because it's how many times does 12 go into 80. Make sure you don't put it just over the 8. So 12 times 6 is 72. So I'm going to subtract 72 from 80 here. I'm going to be, what's left over is 8. So I'm going to bring down that 8. And now I'm going to bring down my 9. So now I have how many times can 12 go into 89? So 12 can go into 89 7 times. 12 times 7 is 84, so I'm going to subtract 84 here. I'm going to have 5 left over, and now I'm going to bring down this 4. So now I have how many times can 12 go into 54? And it can go in 4 times. I'm going to subtract 48. Sorry, I'm running into my last question there. So I'm going to subtract 54 minus 48. So I have 6 left over. And now I'm going to bring down this 0. So now I have how many times can 12 go into 60? And 12 can go into 60 5 times. And there's nothing left over because 12 times 5 is 60. So my answer here is $67.45. So each person owes $67.45. All right, let's try another one. I'm going to erase some of this so we can read my question. Casey has $4.20 to spend on cookies. If each cookie costs $1.40, how many cookies can she buy? So we have $4.20. And we want to divide that by $1.40 by our divisor to see how many cookies we can actually afford. So we're going to do $4.20 divided by $1.40. Now, when we are dividing by a decimal, we need to turn it into a whole number. And what we can do here is we can multiply by 100 to get a whole number. So if we were to multiply by 100, all you have to do here is move your decimal to the right 2 times, 1, 2. And now you have 140. Same thing to the other side. So if you're multiplying by 100, you have 1, 2 zeros. So we're going to move the decimal place over twice. 1, 2. So you have 420. So now I can divide. So I have my divisor on the outside of my division house. My dividend on the inside, 420. So how many times can 140 go into 420? And it can go in 3 times. There's nothing left over. 140 times 3 is 420. So my answer here is if I have $4.20 to spend on cookies and each cookie costs $1.40, I can buy 3 cookies. Let's try a couple more examples. 128.8 divided by 1.4. So, if you guys remember here, we're dividing by a decimal, which means we have to move that decimal place over to get a whole number. Now, in this time, I only have to move it over once. I only have to multiply by 10. So if I move that decimal place over once, I have 14. And if I move it over once on the left side, I have 1,288. And now I can just go ahead and divide like normal. So my dividend is always on the outside. So let's start here. So 14, how many times can 14 go into 128? It can go in 9 times. And how much is left over? So we have 14 times 9 is 126. If we subtract those, we have 2 left over. And now I can bring down my 8. So how many times does 14 go into 28? It goes in 2 times. And there is nothing left over because 14 times 2 equals 28. So my answer here is 92. One more, 65 divided by 8. So I have my dividend on the outside of my division house. I'm sorry, I have my divisor on the outside of the division house and my dividend on the inside. All right, so how many times can 8 go into 65? It can go in 8 times. 8 times 8 is 64. So I have 1 left over. Now I'm not done here. I don't want to have a remainder. So what I have to do is I have to add a decimal. Whenever you have a decimal in the division house, make sure you bring it up so that you don't lose your decimal place. And now that I add my decimal, I can add a 0. And now I'm going to bring that 0 down. And now I have 10. And 8 can go into 10. It goes in 1 time. 10 minus 8 is 2. 8 can't go into 2, so I want to add another 0. Bring down that 0. Now I have 20. And 8 can go in to 20. It goes in 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16, so I'm going to subtract 16. And now I have 4 left over. 8 can't go into 4, so I'm going to bring down another 0. And now I have 40. And 8 can go into 40. It goes in 5 times. And there's nothing left over now. We are all done because 8 times 5 equals 40. So my answer here is 8.125.